Hello, my name is Ribolt80A, and today I will talk about Ontario's um, energy plan called Powering Ontario's Growth, Ontario's Plan for Clean Energy Future, and some of the um, reactions to it. Um, Yeah, and I also know that there's been a lot of developments around the green belt, so I will attempt to talk about that. Um, I haven't set anything up, but try, I'll briefly talk about it and then make a video later on, and then after this segment, make I'll play video games. So Ontario's um, clean. It says it's clean. There's no indication that how clean the energy is, and there's a report, uh, an article from the Toronto Star that said Ontario's energy grid emissions set to skyrocket 400% as Ford government cranks up the gas. And this is the article. And it was posted May 9th, 2022. Um, and then that's where the 400% comes from. That's where I got the number from. And then they got it from um, the independent electricity system operator. They forecasted the amount. Um, and natural gas will run non-stop in 2033. And the article saying that it's equivalent to large Alberta oil sands project. And then this is a graph showing the amount of estimated electricity, greenhouse gases, the historic and projected, um, and it's set to increase. There's a greenhouse gas inventory. Um, so yeah, that's a huge, big deal, um, and it comes at a time when we need to go to net zero um, as soon as possible. Many governments say 2050. Those are less than 10 years to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, to avoid the worst impacts of climate change. Already, we've seen record heat in 100,000 years in just this July. And extreme weather is resulting in deaths, extreme heat, extreme flooding, and it's linked to increase greenhouse gases. Um, that's an article that I found from last year. And then I see natural gas is a huge component. How clean is it? Um, they're doubling down on nuclear, which is very expensive. So the minister made they have a message at the beginning of this report document, long-term energy plan. They say that they're leader in building electric vehicles, despite the fact that they also pulled many of the incentives to purchase electric vehicles. Um, and then the 1.5 million homes, that's going to be a disincentive for energy conservation if it's urban sprawl. Um, you lose electricity um, the longer you have emission power lines. Um, and then if you have urban sprawl with more single family homes, the longer transmission lines need to be. This report doesn't say anything about that. Um, it's talking about the economy and some other stuff. So there's going to be a lot more nuclear energy, and nuclear is not non-carbon source of electricity, as many people believe. Those are the mining consideration. I didn't line up a anything uh, to talk about that, but um, uh, it's not zero carbon. Small modular reactors, there's a lot of controversy around them. And there's people that are saying that it takes 10 years to build um, any nuclear, which is far too long to meet the um, to avoid the worst impacts of climate change. There's also when I was looking through this, I didn't see any timeline on when exactly there will be net zero in Ontario. I think this is good. They're transitioning away from coal and steel manufacturing to electric arc furnaces. So that's a potentially a good thing. So not everything is bad. Um, there's going to be pumped hydroelectric storage, energy efficiency. Um, I do have criticisms about energy efficiency in terms of like the pricing. Um, they kind of undermined it. Um, Competitive electricity procurement. Um, well, nuclear is not competitive. Um, and then there's the executive summary. They're saying that there's a need to more than double its generating capacity. There's a graph that shows us, and then there's a 2050. Um, But yeah, they got rid of time of use pricing, uh, which I think could have been worked out. The formal environmental commissioner um, Gold Miller pointed out uh, that the pricing needed to be have a bigger difference between off peak and on peak. But now um, the government has um, made it so that it's optional. Um, and then there's a lot of there has been articles. TVO made had an article about energy subsidies going to mostly rich people or not people that need it the most. Um, so there's a mix of energy sources. Um, so they're saying that gasoline makes up 40%, natural gas 44%, and electricity 14%. And then I wrote a side note in Ontario's Clean Electricity Advantage. How clean? Um, there was one graph that says how clean it is currently, but not how clean it will be in the future. Well, in terms of like greenhouse gas emissions, there are other things, um, other factors to consider. Nuclear waste um, is one of them, and then particulate matter, which is associated with greenhouse gases, but not. But it can be separate. Then though this is the makeup. I don't think it shows what the percentages will be in the future either. Exactly. I'll have to if I see it. Um, um, so nuclear is like by far the most heavily used. Um, and then that's why you see a lot of commercials for it. And natural gas is going up. A fossil fuel that emits carbon dioxide. There wasn't. I didn't see any talk about carbon capture either, which is not a way to reduce greenhouse gases. Um, but that is where the government is going. Um, I'm surprised I didn't see that. So this is the current carbon intensity of North America. This is Canada, Quebec, and Manitoba, all lower than Ontario, and they're saying because of the hydroelectricity. Hydroelectricity does have problems as well with greenhouse gases. If you flood an area, you create a lot of methane. Um, so we shouldn't uh, praise hydroelectricity unnecessarily. Um, and then And then you get into the U.S., which doesn't have as clean electricity. Uh, Carbon dioxide equivalent per gram of kilowatt hour. Um, and then those electricity emissions by sector. Electricity is 2%, oil, natural gas 5%, and but electricity, like buildings, use electricity, and so if you increase greenhouse gases in electricity, you're also increasing greenhouse gases in buildings, industry, and then transportation has a lot of greenhouse gases. Um, yeah, so one of the things about keeping electricity affordable is that the government is subsidizing electricity for everyone, including people that don't need the subsidies. So you're not encouraged to conserve electricity. And then there's different programs. I do supporting low income individuals. Except the government should increase other supports like ODSP. Um, and there's a bunch of there's a disconnection ban they mentioned from November 15th to April 30th, and this is due to extreme cold. What about for extreme heat? Like we know, July to August, um, you tend to get extreme heat events. 30-degree weather is becoming a lot more common, and people have died as a result of extreme heat. Um, so, so that's something to consider. Um, and then there was an increase in natural gas. This is saying how currently not about natural gas and the supply. They're saying the government of Ontario went on an attack against the carbon tax in this report, and they're saying that natural gas remains a cost-effective option even with the carbon tax, um, or in spite of the carbon tax. And I think this is the wrong approach to go after the most effective method at reducing greenhouse gases. And then they said that they're expanding access to natural gas across the province. And natural gas is methane. I don't know why they call it natural gas, but it's very misleading. Um, it's more. It's worse than carbon dioxide. Um, And then the Clean Home Energy Initiative use natural gas, but I like that they encouraged electric heat source, electric air source heat pumps. I do like that. They talk about energy efficiency. I do like energy efficiency. Um, and then they also cut costs for consumers on on gas. So they subsidized fossil fuel use. They extended the gas and fuel tax cuts to December 31st, 2023, and cut the gas tax by 5.7 cents per liter. Um, but they didn't incentivize public transit at the same time, which would have reduced the amount of carbon dioxide uh, more than uh, funding fossil fuel use. There was a report that clean energy credits will have been double dipped or um, used more than once. So the carbon credits they're unreliable, and then I'm wondering how this is different than the cap and trade system. They're talking about an energy credit registry. I guess there's no cap. There's no cap, but I'll have to look more into that. Then there's electrification. Talk about population growth. SMO. Oh, they're doing small modular reactors, uh, which is a controversy on its own. Um, it takes over 10 years to site and plan them, build them. Uh, there's clean energy storage. I like that. Nuclear energy, they have to be refurbished after 30 to 40 years. So there's going to be a lot more storage and electricity. There's no percent shown. A lot more storage, and most of that will come from batteries, expansion of batteries. in 2026. And then there's some projects. And then this talks about why they use natural gas. But they also talked about storage. So what happened to storage? And then this is like the difference between um, a day in May of 2022 versus July 19th. July had 34 degree Celsius, and so natural gas, they said, needed to be used, but they could have um, increased storage instead of increasing natural gas. And we know that there will be more 30-degree weather in the future. 50. There's more energy efficiency programs, conservation and demand management. So I like that. Um, and then one thing, they're increasing renewable energy from the support, but they also cut 750 renewable energy contracts. So we could have had a lot of those energy contracts years ago. Um, um, yeah, so they're going to use more nuclear. Distributed energy resources. So they're saying that that's like rooftop solar, batteries, fuel cells, and electric vehicles. I know that like electric vehicles can be have dual charging. That they can be used to charge your house potentially. So that'll be interesting. Um, and then those changes to allow third-party net metering. Um, so I like that. Distributed energy reduces the strain on caused by a centralized grid, like when those problems are at a power plant, the whole grid goes down, but distributed energy reduces that the chances of that happening. Oh, there's something called the green button, which allows people to track their energy use. I like that, tracking energy use, and it provides ways to reduce energy. Um, oh, wait. Too fast. I think I covered everything in this report. Oh, resiliency to extreme weather. So there's going to be something coming out later this summer. about from the Ontario Energy Board um, about that. Um, yeah, and then there was some other articles that I found. So the National Observable, Ontario's clean power that's not really a plan. Um, Keith Brooks of Environmental Defence is concerned that it's not really planned. Ontario's only mention of net zero is when referring to the need to up its nuclear power. Um, there's no mention of price. Um, there's the Sanging Ojibwe Nation do not support any projects on the territory until there's a solution to storing Canada's nuclear waste. So that's going to be an issue. And the Ontario government said large-scale nuclear power projects typically have a lead time of a decade or more, which Book said is far too far in the future. And solar and wind are cheaper and don't produce harmful nuclear waste, and they can be deployed in much quicker timeline. No. Okay, so that's one article. And then this is from the Canadian Climate Institute. New Ontario Energy Plan provides a central vision for electricity, but lacks detail on gas. Plan is silent on whether the province intends to construct new gas-fired generation facilities. The province's timeline for reaching net zero generation is also unclear. And then there's a final article that I wanted to look at. This one is called "There's One Thing the New Ontario Energy Plan Doesn't Mention," and it's a biggie. How clean? Doesn't say if the system will go entirely to net zero emissions, a requirement to avoid the worst effects of climate change. And lacking specific targets for how much each kind of generation, nuclear, hydro, gas, and renewables will be needed in the future, and no cost estimates for what will be a massive build out of the system. Those are the articles about the long-term energy plan. My opinion is that it is it lacks detail, lacks transparency, and um, is misleading in that the energy uh, and green is like greenwashing is because it claims it's green but not